systems go. Clear for liftoff.
What's going on, everybody? Happy Friday morning, Thanksgiving. What do you call that? It's not Eve, post-Thanksgiving?
Black Friday, yeah.
Black Friday. All right, Black Friday. We'll talk about a little Black Friday in a second, but hope everybody out there had a great day yesterday. I know my man down there had a good day because, A, the Bears and the Donkeys over there allowed him to get a nice, easy win, but B, he got that bet done, he got the shoey done, hit him with a little celebratory dance after. Hoopster, how are we doing today on this fine Friday morning?
Yeah, doing well. It was a good Thanksgiving. I mean, obviously started out with the Lions win, which is nice and closer than it should have been. I mean, they dominated the game, and they're just such a, I don't know, not frustrating, but like tough team. Like in those situations, you get the ball and then they just run it up the middle 3 times, give it back to the Bears. And then what in the world? Like if you played any level of football, right? I mean, any level, the middle school, high school, college, clearly the NFL, like you had 30 freaking seconds to get a playoff. Like what in the world was that? Like that's like almost seems intentional. Like the only way you do that is if you're intentionally trying to like lose a football game. There's no common sense, no logic. And then the worst part to me is like the coach almost making it seem like that was okay. And that's what they were trying to do. It's just, that's terrible. But Lions got the win despite all that, which is nice. We finally got the shoey done. I've been getting a lot of shit, and this has been ongoing for months and months and months. And I felt halftime of the Lions was the time to get the job done. I mean, I had the family there. I had to explain to my parents what a shoey was, so that took a little explaining. But obviously, that's one of those things. Once you see it, it makes a little bit more sense. So I had the parents there to support the shoey. The kids were there. Went out. I was at my parents' house. We went on the deck. Everyone was out there watching as I did this, and it went smooth. I mean, one take down the drain. No issues whatsoever. I did go shirtless, like I said, because didn't want to ruin the Thanksgiving Day outfit. I mean, really didn't even get anything on my body. So, I mean, it was much easier than I anticipated. I should have done it probably a lot sooner based on the ease of the performance, and I think I nailed it from start to finish. And yeah, hit him with that little dance at the end to get him going. So it was a good day overall. And then, yeah, Dallas, we talked about on the Wednesday show. Like I just thought it was such a good spot for Dallas just to pound the Giants, and they did. I mean, it was similar to the Lions. I mean, Lions beat the hell out of the Bears the entire game. Score ended up being closer than the true dominant. Same thing with Dallas. I mean, they absolutely dominated the Giants, which I predicted. I placed a nice size bet on Dallas and kind of kept betting them yesterday too, and obviously worked out well. But back to the grind, we got not a super appealing game, but we have a game on Black Friday, and we have DFS contest. So excited to break it all down.
Yeah, absolutely. Shout out to you on the Dallas call for sure. Absolutely panned out, and yeah, I don't think there's any other explanation besides they just don't want to win football games. But how you go up there and double down, like, I mean, you're doubling down on your own career. Like you can't, if somehow people are telling you to lose games, I don't know how you make it that obvious. But they called the timeout. Even prior, their first time out they called when they took like a false starter holding at the goal line when it would have been half the distance of the goal, maybe backed them up like 3 yards. Instead, they burned the timeout. I can't remember the exact scenario, and it made zero sense. And then, 30 seconds, timeout, run a play, have your field goal unit ready. If it's inbounds, you run them out there. You have plenty of time. I mean, it was pathetic, absolutely pathetic. I wanted overtime as well, but shout out the winners. I see Bring the Noise had a good day. Jacob Stubbs in here. Jordan, Lloyd, Nades, our man, Desmond, Camera Bro, Aiden, Go Collect. What's going on, everybody? Hope everybody had a good day. Again, all we ask, like button. Subscribe button helps us out a ton. We mentioned Black Friday. Hoop, I'll let you talk about this quick. Yeah. 2 promos going on, pulling it up right here. Take it away.
So, yeah, you can use the code at the top there, BF50. It stands for Black Friday, which I'm sure everyone could kind of figure out on their own. But BF50, and that will get you 50% off any of our monthly all-access packages. So any monthly package, you plug in that code BF50, you get 50% off your first month to try us, and you can use select packages that do include Shiptimizer as well. So I mean, it's a great starting point if you want to give our content a try. BF50 on any of those monthly all access packages. And then the rest of the season football packages, which does include college football. All our football packages include college football, so NFL and college football. Rest of the season, $99. It gets you all the way through the Super Bowl mid February. So you're looking at like 2.5 months of full-on content, showdown content, everything you need, everything we offer over here in regards to football. And the college football team has absolutely been crushing it as well, on a little bit of a side note. So if you want to do that with the Shiptimizer, $129. So you're getting an optimizer for the rest of football season. You're getting content for the rest of football season, showdown, playoffs, $129. I mean, it is by far the best value in this industry, and that's always been the goal, to be the most affordable and best value in the industry, and we feel that's where we're at. So if you want all access, BF50. If you want just football, $99. With Shiptimizer, $129. Great deal. So get on in.
Definitely get in the Discord as well, in the community. I mean, people's cheering each other, sweating each other on, helping people out. Again, shout out the NBA team. NBA back today, 1 day off. Back with the solid slate. I think there's a 10 a.m. game as well. So much stuff going on. Shout out college football. MMA off this week. We'll be back next week for UFC 310. Very exciting stuff. Let's talk some football hoop. A very interesting slate. Like you said, is it the best game? No, I don't love 13-point spreads. Chiefs should put a pounding on the Raiders. 42.5 total. But you look at all of that right away, I assume 4-2 Chiefs, 5-1 Chiefs. That's not the case at all when it comes to building. Obviously, we play a salary-based game. Chiefs have a lot of guys, and a lot of them are priced up, and they're getting Isaiah Pacheco back, which muddies up the running back room, especially at those prices. Where you look at the Raiders side, they're a lot cheaper in so many different areas. What stands out right away, Amir Abdullah, no Zamir White, no Madison is expected. Still only 5,800, had a good game last week. Another first glance that stands out to me, look at our projections. No one really projected well except Patrick Mahomes. 21.8. The next we have is 15.5. So about 6 points we have Pat Mahomes projected higher than everybody else in this game. In a tier of his own kind of at pricing, 10.8K, Bowers 10, Kelsey 9.6, and then both Pacheco, Hunt 9.2, 9K to round it out. There's no doubt Mahomes is going to get a lot of ownership. We have him projected for the highest, 26 captain, 66 in the flex. He will be close to 100%, maybe the highest owned flex and captain play we've seen all year on Showdown. Just broad slate. Looking again, I think it's going to be 3-3s Chiefs Raiders. I even think 4-2 Raiders might be decently popular with the Chief up at captain. Again, because of the lack of value we have on the Chiefs side. If you do want to jam Mahomes, a Brock Bowers, a Kelsey, any broad slate overviews before you get into captain, and if not, you can just take us into captain too.
Yeah, it's an interesting slate because you look at this and the Chiefs are favored by 14.5, and rightfully so. They're one of the best teams in football, and the Raiders are clearly one of the worst teams in football. But in regards to, DFS and how we're playing this game, if you just run things like you said, I mean, I did, and I'll just kind of talk through it. We don't really need to screen share because it's basically what you expected. It's 50% Patrick Mahomes, captain, and then the rest of what he's not in the captain, he's in the flex. So basically 100% owned if you just go in and run an optimizer, which is kind of what we expected. He's projected way higher than anyone else on the slate, and that's what you're going to get. And there's cheap plays involved and cheap guys that we can go to. After him, I guess it is kind of what I expected. Kelsey, Myers, Bowers. And those are going to be the four that get a majority of the ownership. And again, probably rightfully so. Those are the high volume plays on the slate. No real question marks around those guys and their roles. There are question marks around the rest of the slate. And if Pacheco were still to be out, you would add Kareem Hunt to that list. He would be very popular as well. But now you're getting Pacheco back, and both these guys are max priced. I mean, Hunt 9K, Pacheco 92 makes it very, very tough for the captain position. I mean, they're clearly going to have some sort of split. I don't know what it is. Is it 50-50? Is it 60-40? Is it 65-35? It's going to be a split. Like Hunt has performed quite well. They're not just going to say, all right, see you later. You're on the bench. The guy that has been injured all season is taking their job back. They're not going to do that. There's going to be some sort of split. That makes it very difficult for captain, for one of those guys to pay that off. Almost, would need a 50-yard touchdown or something, I feel, in my eyes, or one of them to run really, really good with touchdowns and getting the goal line work, opposed to the other guy, just impossible to predict. So you're going to see Mahomes, you're going to see Bowers, you're going to see Myers, you're going to see Kelsey up top. After that, I will admit it gets difficult to make cases for many other guys, like DeAndre Hopkins with the Chiefs favored by 14.5. Like, is that where you want to go? Like, not really for me. I mean, he still has a pretty big price tag. Worthy, yeah, you can make the big plays for sure, but do you want to go there? I don't love it. Amir Abdullah, I guess, would maybe be the next guy in line because it's like a mid-tier value price tag, but I think he's probably the consensus number 5 guy after everyone else because of the workload he got and the passing work. I think he had like 5 receptions. They're probably playing from behind here, so he's probably naturally the 5th that everyone kind of gravitates toward. So, Mahomes, Kelsey, Myers, Bowers, and I'll admit it is pretty difficult. I guess, for me, if I was going to make a case for someone outside of those 4, I'll throw Abdullah in there because I do think he's probably the 5th. I guess maybe it would just be taking shots on maybe like Worthy or Hopkins. I don't know. Maybe I'm curious to get your take on it because it is difficult because those guys do have such high volume. Kelsey, tons of volume. Myers, tons of volume, especially if they're playing from behind. And the same with Bowers. Bowers has been an absolute beast. So for me, it's difficult to find something outside of the 4, and then I'll say like I guess 5 if you want to include Abdullah.
I'm with you. It's like the captain spot. I know I don't want to get too far off the board. Aiden O'Connell, at the end of the day, I just don't think he's very good. Chiefs have a good defense. 8,800's a lot. I don't see myself getting there. And again, you're playing 20 teams or less, stuff like that. I mean, I'm not playing Aiden O'Connell at captain. I know that. I will be playing some Abdullah. And for the reason you mentioned, he's going to be like the cheapest captain I get to. At 5,800, he is too cheap at the end of the day. Again, a solid game last week. We also do have an interesting spot. We won't talk about it at captain, but this McCormick guy is the backup. Only $800. He's definitely going to get some flex ownership on a slate where cheap value isn't really great. Kelsey's of the world, Mahomes of the world, Brock Bowers, there is spend-ups. So it's an interesting talking point when we get to running back flex. You're not going to play him captain. Jacoby's the clear wide receiver 1 in this team, but Trey Tucker and DJ Turner, it's really clear. Those are the 3 guys. Trey Tucker, the clear number 2. DJ Turner, the clear slot guy. I'm not going to be playing Tucker, Turner, and captain. I think one of these Chiefs or Abdullah or someone's going to put up a 20-plus to break the slate where you needed that captain. So I'm not messing with those cheap captains, but we'll get there at receiving or when we get to receivers. Bowers is the interesting one because Mahomes is 800 more, obviously higher owned. Kelsey's 400 less, projects better. I think will be higher owned as well. So you're overspending a little bit at sandwich between 2 guys. He's been so good. He's someone that I will be playing. It's hard to get too excited about many of these Raiders. I do worry a little bit. Chiefs, very well-coached team. Take away the best Raiders player, it by far is Brock Bowers. Make anybody else beat you. But, man, if they're trailing – like kind of like the stuff with yesterday with Caleb Williams stuff, like everyone complaining, how did the chalk get there, this, that. I mean, I think we literally laid out exactly how it gets there. Yeah. Awful first half, Lions get ahead, you drop back a million times, you just get there on sheer volume that way. That very well could be Brock Bowers today. That could be Aiden O'Connell too if you do want to paint that picture. Again, it is in Kansas City, colder weather. It's not in a dome like that. You guys got a good defense in Detroit, but you guys are banged up. I'm not playing that route necessarily, but I will play that for Brock Bowers. Just drag route city. They'll get him the ball 10-plus times. Chiefs side, I'm not messing with running backs. I want you to talk a little bit more about Mahomes. I will be playing him. How do you play him is interesting, though. The Hopkins-Worthy stuff, I'm going to be team Worthy as far as captain. The thing is, none of them are like too exciting because they keep rotating in. DeAndre Hopkins last week was 4th in the wide receiver room in terms of snaps. It went Watson 1 at 48, Worthy 2 at 47, Juju 3 at 41, and D-Hop 4 at 33. That's concerning. I mean, 4 guys mixing in, but his price tag up there, again, he did catch the touchdown. At that price, I think he's the one I won't be playing at captain. Worthy has looked great. He has that big play upside, so I am going to play him. But again, these snap counts, no one's playing more than 70%. They are fine running Noah Gray, Kelsey line, or 2 tight end sets, pounding the football, 13-point favorite. So I don't want to go overboard on this room, but Worthy is the guy that can break any play. So I'll embrace, and then Kelsey. So talked a lot right there, but I'll be playing Brock Bowers, Abdullah, Mahomes, Worthy, Kelsey, and I think that's about it for me. I want you to for sure talk about like how you can use Mahomes. Do you need at least 2 pass catchers? Think he has upside for the legs? Do you think an underweight approach on the most popular captain? And then just round out your pool and finish that up.
Yeah, I think that's the beauty of Mahomes today is there's so many different, I mean, not the beauty of it because he's going to be the highest owned. And I guess it's, not super exciting to get all, jacked up for the highest owned captain play, the most obvious play on the slate. But like, there's so many different ways to play him. Like that's the nice thing. You can play him with a variety of pass catchers. You can pair him with one because he does randomly have the rushing upside. Like he's just a very good football sense. He knows when to take off. So he does have that rushing upside. Him with 1 could definitely be optimal. Him with 2 could be optimal. Him with 3 could potentially be optimal. And there's so many different guys, Hardman, they're getting Hardman involved more. Watson, Pirine has been out there. Noah Gray, Juju's now more involved. Worthy, Hopkins, Kelsey, like there's so many different guys to potentially pair him with. So I do think, that adds more appeal to me for Mahomes captain is I know I can do a bunch of different, and you don't have to pick one way. You can just kind of run it. I definitely want at least 1. And then just, if I get 2, I'm good with that. If I get 3, I'm fine with that too. And guys like Noah Gray have been just so involved. And, once you have the trust of Mahomes, like he'll keep coming to you. So a guy like Gray definitely stands out. But that's the nice thing about Mahomes captain today. So many different ways to do it. So many different guys to pair him with. And I think overall at the captain spot, I'm with you. I just don't. It's so, who is out of the group that we talked about, like who's the next case to make? I just don't freaking
Jacoby.
see it.
I don't know if I said Jacoby Myers.
Yeah, I'm in on him too.
He's definitely
I'm in on him. It's just because I think it was last game, just at the end, just gets absolutely peppered when they're down, and that could definitely be the case today. So I don't know. Captain is, I'd say, rather obvious, and I just don't see like an off the wall guy that I'm going to be too excited about here today. So I'm just gonna, probably do some different things with flex. Maybe look to leave a lot of salary on the table, that sort of thing to get a little bit different within these teams.
Definitely a slate. Every showdown slate is one you can leave out or money on the table. By far, this is a slate. You definitely can as well. No Aiden O'Connell for you at captain. Like I mentioned it, you mentioned it, or he did. Same exact thing. We saw it twice yesterday. 2 teams get ahead, a big lead. Other team has to drop back a million times. Both Tua and Caleb get there because the game environment sets up the same, but not necessarily the same spot. What are your thoughts on O'Connell?
Yeah, I get the argument just because we saw it twice yesterday. Teams trailing and the quarterbacks come back and put up the big score. Yeah, that happens frequently, but like I'm not going to bank on it being Aiden O'Connell that does it. The reason I'm playing Myers and Bowers is because I think they have like 8 to 10 catch upside and like 100-yard stuff, not necessarily like the touchdown scoring ability. Those other offenses obviously were able to jam it into the end zone. If he does it multiple times to different receivers, then yeah, maybe it is him, but I'm fine taking my chances on it not happening.
I'm with you. Before we do get to running back though, let's talk wider or quarterback flex quick. We usually don't spend too much time on it. But mainly I want to do it for the O'Connell stuff. Not often do we get a quarterback looking 30% we have in the flex. Again, the price tag is up there. It's up there a little bit. In that range, there isn't like Pacheco and Hunter there. O'Connell will be higher owned, I do expect. Only 600 more is Kelsey, though. Many people want to find that 600. I think Bowers, 1K more people want to find. Below that, though, Jacoby looks good. But D-Hop, I do think O'Connell will be higher owned. Worthy, again, the Chiefs pass catchers, and why circling back, I think 3-3 will be very popular. Chiefs running back room and Chiefs wide receiver room isn't too appealing because of how many options they are in the pricing at running back. So O'Connell, 30% flex, I think that sounds about right. What are your thoughts about him? Are you going to jam him? You think 30 is about right? And then we'll move into running back.
It reminds me of I can't remember who they were playing, but
Cooper.
the Dallas slate with Cooper Rush.
Cooper Rush.
Yeah, he was right around 30. He ended up getting the job done, the guy that you needed in flex. Way more excited about O'Connell and flex, and I hope that's true. I mean, the quarterbacks have such an advantage. I mean, they get to touch the ball every single offensive play for the most part, unless they do something wildcat or something like that. But, I mean, they're always going to have the ball in their hands, always have such a relatively high floor. This is a slate where 12 in flex could definitely be in the winner. So I want to be overweight on that, potentially 30% number. So that's my take in regards to the quarterback or him in the flex. Running back is very tough. I mean, Abdullah is clearly the best play. 5,800 should get all the work. I will note, I mean, we need to verify, but Madison is officially questionable, but every single projection site has him out. I'm assuming he's likely out. So that's the only thing that could kind of throw a wrinkle in the Abdullah play. But 5,800, 5 catches, I believe, last week. So scores very well on DK with his sort of role, potentially playing from behind. 6 targets, 5 catches last week. Did find the end zone. Very strong play. I mean, the tough situation for sure is the Kareem Hunt, Isaiah Pacheco. Both priced way up, and if they're both, this was 2 weeks in with both of them back, there's no way they would both be in the 9K range. It's tough, and we're showing 18, and so we're basically showing the same projection for the most part within half a point, relatively close ownership. And I don't think anyone really knows. I mean, who the hell knows what the split's going to be? Again, is it 50-50? Is it 60-40, 65-35? Who gets the goal line work? Hunt kind of had the Pacheco role when Pacheco was out. In the past, Hunt has been like a pass-catching guy. Does he kind of go back to that? It's a very difficult situation. The most difficult part of it is the price tags. I mean, these are big price tags, and they need to beat guys like, Jacoby Myers and, probably Kelsey and, some of these more expensive guys on the slate. Makes it pretty difficult. So I don't know. I have no read. I'd be fine getting underweight or potentially just off of them and hoping it's more of the passing game. P. Ryan, with him, just very similar to drawing a blank on the guy that we just talked about, where he can kind of get it all in a hurry in like a 2-minute warning type situation.
Justice Hill.
Yeah, we're talking about Justice Hill. He's done it a bunch this year where it's just like 1-2 minute. Obviously he ended up having the big game the other night, but he can just get it in a hurry. And P. Ryan can rack up the points, so probably have him in my player pool. But it's crazy to think on a slate where a team's favored or is a 14-point underdog, the 2 best running back plays are from the team that is the 14-point underdog in this. McCormick dude at 8K is basically the backup, or not 8K, 800, sorry, at $800 was basically the backup last week, 5 carries. And, that's not much, but for $800, it is much. Like, we'll take 5 carries for an $800 player. Likely to get some ownership here for sure, but he makes a lot work on the slate. So, how do you know? I'm guessing you probably don't, but do you know? Is his first name Sincere? Is that it?
That's what I'm going with. I don't know what else
Sincere McCormick. I mean, yeah, it is. So someone in the chat has I'm sure someone in the chat has the actual pronunciation, but 800 backup running back playing on a team that's 14-point underdogs, clearly in the conversation. The Kansas City running back plays are very, very difficult though today.
Yeah, and I'm not convinced. Like last week, Abdullah got 90% of snaps. McCormick got the other 10%. It's very rare that we see running backs get 90% of snaps. So I think we see more than 8 snaps from McCormick today. I'd be surprised to see it be, again, 90-10. Anything else you go, 85-15, a couple more from McCormick, a couple more touches. I mean, who knows what we need at $800? We saw Covey on the winner at 0. I'm not playing for that on this slate by any means. But that $800 price tag, I mean, you could argue he's the best running back play on the slate. Again, I do think Abdullah is, but at the price tag and what it gets you, like Abdullah will probably be the highest owned running back on the slate because of his price tag. Obviously, the Hunt and Pacheco stuff, the guesswork there, both will get some ownership. I'll talk about that in a sec, but Abdullah's price tag at 5.8K projects better than Chiefs defense and Worthy, who are more expensive. Kickers in the range, who I think are good, but Abdullah projects way better there. Again, 90% of snaps for 5.8K. He is definitely one of the most mispriced guys on the slate. But with all that being said, look at the Chiefs defense. A rush defense, B- pass. It is not easy to run on this Chiefs defense on the road, in the cold. And it's another thing which was interesting. We only have props for Kareem Hunt and Pat Mahomes on rushing props. No Pacheco, no Abdullah, nothing else. 52.5 Kareem, 16.5 for Mahomes. And then the touchdown prop, right now DraftKings is trying to hedge themselves in case Madison does play. So they have Madison plus 235, Abdullah plus 265. But again, hard to look into that too much. My thoughts on the Chief running back situation, a clear max one. Like if they both get there, I'm good. Completely losing money. They're way too expensive. Should be in a timeshare. But if you're trying to play the lotto or you're playing the $3.20 max that have so many people, I mean, I don't think it's crazy to try and embrace one side or get 10% of either, which could be underweight. But if one of them do get there, like it's the nut script. They're 13.5-point favorites at home, should be winning, should be able to pound the football. All of that tells me, why wouldn't it be just keep riding Kareem Hunt, get Pacheco worked in a little bit, but ride the guy that has been a monster or has been good for you. But in the playoffs, you're probably going to want Pacheco to still be the guy. And the props, minus 115 Pacheco to score, minus 105 Kareem. Again, it's hard for me to read into that too much because DraftKings just fucks you. And I think those odds are both like wrong and should be like plus 150. The rushing prop, though, is interesting. They didn't do Pacheco. Again, they just probably have no clue and they don't want to lose money on it. But do you have any lean hoop, like 60-40? Do you think they roll one guy? I know Pacheco, they thought maybe could come back last week. He's practiced in full. So it's just like the game script on a Friday, the spread. Hunt's been good. And like you mentioned, P. Ryan will be involved too. 2-minute maybe passing stuff. It's a mess, but you're going to get lower ownership and you differentiate up top the Kelce's, the Bowers. You could have a solo shipper or less dupes that way. So any take if you had to pick one.
Yeah, I would lean Kareem Hunt. I mean, Pacheco, they've been very cautious with. Obviously, he's been a big part of, especially what they did last season. I don't think they want to risk anything. If this game does get to that blowout scenario, I just imagine it's going to be Hunt over Pacheco to close out a game. They're being very cautious. They have, this is not a huge game for them. They're obviously coasting right now. They should win it with ease. I just would definitely be leaning Hunt over Pacheco. Pacheco for me could potentially just end up being a fade on the slate and just doing, playing Hunt moderately and then, maybe fading Pacheco. We'll see when I go in and build everything, but I just can't, if they're going to push one guy, to me, it has to be Hunt over Pacheco in my eyes. Could be wrong, but there's no clarity on the situation at this point.
For sure. And that's why I think max one would be my approach. And again, if you want to mix both of them, we both lean Hunt if you had to pick. But I think Hunt will probably be higher owned. I think maybe that's more people's thoughts. Thank you for this. Sleeper has 37.5 rushing yards for Pacheco, so a good bit higher than Kelce. But again, a lot of guesswork on it. It could be a true split. And if it's a true split, both of these guys are way overpriced. I think they are overpriced. That's the reason we're talking about it, though. Go ahead.
Yeah, that's a good point from Lee. I mean, I kind of feel the same way. I can't imagine they give Pacheco any more than 40%. They have long-term goals. Yeah, this is a team that wants to win the Super Bowl, and that's why I kind of said, like, this is not a big game for them, against the Raiders favored by 14. Like, they should win it with ease. I agree. I just can't imagine he would get anything over 40. I think 40 is the max for Pacheco today.
Yeah, I think I'm again, we show 18, 16, really hard to know exactly with ownership. I think I'm going to embrace a little Kareem Hunt stuff the more I'm talking about it. Yeah. A clear pivot, both those guys up top, if you do get it right. Yeah, I mean, a starting running back, less than 20%, 13-point favorites. Again, there is a lot of guesswork and unknowns, but if you embrace that, the ownership is very appealing for a starting running back on a great team. I think that's enough of the running back room. You said you were going to play some P. Ryan. I mean, the price isn't free by any means, but the value isn't great and is low owned.
Yeah, we'll see. Like when I build, like he's a guy I'm clearly not forcing in. Like if I get some, I get some. But you got two guys now. Now it's a pretty solid 3 running back situation. Now at this point, it's probably in my eyes, he's probably only getting the 2-minute stuff sort of work. I don't love it, but like if he gets in, I'm cool. And he probably does get in at 3K, so I'll probably have some.
All right, let's move it to the wide receiver room. Again, appreciate every single one watching us bright and early up on this Friday, at least if you're on the West Coast. Like button, subscribe button is all we ask from you. And again, Black Friday, happy Black Friday. All the shoppers out there, wife shopping, bank account goes down a little bit. One way can maybe help it go up a little bit. We have a deal right here. Black Friday, BF50 gets you 50% off your first month. All access. Definitely do get in to the Discord. If you do get the all access package, if you just want football, I will say NBA product, absolutely money. NHL, shout out to our man Nades. College football is included with NFL though, $99 for the rest of the season. College football, NFL. If you do want to add Shiptimizer, our own optimizer over here as well, $129, only $30 more. And again, that takes you all the way through playoffs. We get Christmas Day football nowadays. So many spots, like during this time. We'll have Saturday games, I think, little mini slates like we saw yesterday. Always a fun sweat. Of course, content up. And all of our content will be up for this game, rolling up. Most of it up now and continue to roll up. Let's talk some wide receivers, Hoop. A very, very important position to get right on the slates. Because you look at ownership. Again, I mentioned Chiefs stuff. No one in the flex we have projected for over 30%. Only one guy on the Raiders and Jacoby Myers at 35%. This has to be like the lowest cumulative ownership at a wide receiver room in a showdown slate that I can remember. Again, on the Raiders, I think it's pretty obvious. Jacoby Myers, Trey Tucker, wide receiver 1 and 2. DJ Turner runs the slot routes. Last week in terms of snaps, 99% for Myers, 90% Tucker, 62% DJ Turner. All of them very much in play for me. We'll be mixing them in. And I prefer a DJ Turner over Pirine in a vacuum. But again, I do think more people will, and that could be a pivot. Chiefs stuff, again, it's very tough. I mentioned from the top, snap counts, none of them above 70%. Watson, Worthy, Juju, D-Hop was how it went in order. You mentioned Hardman too. His snaps were down last week, only 4, but prior 13, 11, 15. So yeah, they mix in a whole plethora of guys over here. I mentioned from the top, I don't love D-Hop. I like Worthy, and then, I think I prefer Juju Watsons of the world for savings. D-Hop's my least favorite. I'm playing these 3. I don't love receiver, though. Talk to me. Hopefully you can help me out.
Yeah, I mean, really, there's not too much more to add. I mean, it is another, I guess, interesting situation where the shitty team that's 14-point underdog is much more clear at a position in terms of what you want to do. I mean, you got Myers, you have Tucker, and you have DJ Turner. It's those 3. It's very clear. And in terms of flex plays, I think they're all solid options in their own regard and good value. I'd say all of them are good value. Myers at 8K is probably too cheap. Tucker 44 probably too cheap, and Turner at 2,400 probably too cheap. So that side's easy. The difficult side is the Chiefs side, and nobody looks like a solid play and a guy I want to be excited about. I'm going to play him. Especially, again, on those Mahomes captains teams, I would make sure to mix in all these guys because who the hell knows? I mean, obviously Hopkins and Worthy are out there the most, but it's not like locked in that they're going to be out there for every single passing play. You got Juju getting more involved, Watson, Hardman. I don't really have a hot take or strong opinion. I'm going to be playing all these guys to some degree. Like I said, I like them all better in the Mahomes captains teams. You can do Mahomes with 1, with 2, potentially 3. Noah Gray's another guy to add into this mix as well, because obviously in showdown positions, don't matter. So he's similar to these guys as well. But I don't know. It's going to play these guys. Most likely they'll be more utilized in Mahomes captains teams, and the Raiders side is much more clear. I mean, there's I don't know. It's tough to decipher between these plays.
For sure. And again, I'm looking at the Chiefs receiver room. I already mentioned, if D-Hop was 4th on the team in snaps last week as the highest owned the highest price by far. We do have him as the highest owned there. Why would I not want to save 4,400 for Juju, or save a plethora with Watson? Worthy again. He's looked eye test wise, just looking at it, Mahomes looks at him a lot. Like, he's not always open, but he's just so freaking fast and is so explosive after he catches the ball, and they design plays for him, whether it's end arounds and certain things to get him there. Like, one play, 70 yards, and the slate's over. Feels like there's not many guys on the slates that have that type of boom bust. Last time I said that, Worthy completely ran out of bounds on a wide open go route, so that could very well happen again. But yeah, I'm going to be playing Worthy. T-Hop is my least favorite wide receiver. Like, give me Jacoby Myers for 400 less. And again, I'm not saying I'm fading DeAndre Hopkins. I don't want to I don't know what's going to happen in a couple hours in the game. I just think T-Hop's overpriced for his current role, which again, last week was what, 45% of snaps? 45% of snaps. Like, Juju out-snapping him, Watson out-snapping him. Watson leading the room in snaps is just crazy when you look at the price. No one would expect that. So, yeah, I'm going to be
must be a good blocker. That's the only explanation.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, he doesn't do much out there, but I feel like he had a big catch last week, or a touchdown maybe. Let me see. No, not at all. 2 points. All right. I don't know what I was seeing. Maybe I just saw that one catch for 2 points. I did. I do remember that. And yeah, we'll get into the tight end position. Again, I think it's 3 clear on the Raiders. D-House my least favorite, but you're going to play Hardman, you said?
I'll have some in there. Like, they use them in, seems like high leverage situations, like by the goal line. Like, they'll give them end arounds. They'll try to get him the screen plays. When he's used, it seems like it's in high leverage scoring situations. So that's the reason why I'm interested in him.
Makes some sense. Let's get into the tight end position. And I think a very, very, very clear. Hold on. We got a little donation from Josh. Weird Ritter price if they aren't starting sleeper Noah Gray. He did mention, first of all, definitely appreciate that $4.99, Josh. Looking sharp in that picture. I know you mentioned above you thought it was going to be Ritter starting. It is Aiden O'Connell starting. And we don't really ever touch backup quarterbacks on this line. To be honest, I don't even know what he's priced. Probably $6K like always.
He's up there. They got him priced with a real price tag. I think he's eight something.
86. Oh yeah, you can't touch 86.
Yeah. No.
But we appreciate that, Josh. Appreciate the $4.99. Hope you have a great day. The main talk, everyone's saying, are we chasing Noah Gray? You look at that game log, 22-18 the past 2 or 22-16? He's been good. We talked about Noah Gray in almost every Chiefs slate, though. They'll run 2 tight ends. I think that Mahomes trusts Noah Gray over some of these Hardmans of the world, the Watsons of the world. The price tag, very fair as well. Again, he's not going to be sneaky by any means. I wouldn't even be surprised if this 21% was a little higher when they look at game logs comparing others to the range. But other side, very 2 clear guys as well. Bowers and Michael Mayer, they also do 2 tight end sets, 52% of snaps in week 11, 44% in week 12, coming back from injury. I'll be playing all of them. I will say Myers' target share isn't great. I mean, it's Aiden O'Connell throwing you the ball, but they should be trailing a lot. He's cheap. I think 4 clear tight ends. But yeah, I think Noah Gray looks really strong. Obviously, Bowers, Kelsey, we talked at the top. Bowers will be lower owned. Sandwich between Kelsey, Mahomes. Any hot takes at this position? It's a good one.
Like them all as plays. I mean, we already talked about Kelsey. We already talked about Bowers. Both great plays, I think, in captain and flex. Noah Gray, I do agree with you. When people start digging in, the ownership is, what do we have it at? Low 20s. I could see it getting into mid 20s, even 26, 27, 28 range, maybe upper 20s, because game log looks great. When you get in the good graces of Mahomes, he has no problem just going right back to you. He's been great out there. And then Michael Mayer is fine at 1,600. He'll get out there, get some reps as well. So, I mean, it's a very clear position for me. Kelsey, Bowers, captain flex. Noah Gray, really like him. And again, another guy that is a very solid play in those Mahomes captain teams. And then Mayer as just a punt play, I think is solid. So, I mean, it's a clear position, much clearer than the wide receiver room.
100%. And I will say, though, again, ownership-wise, 39, 38, 21, that ownership is saying, and the field is replicating or reflecting that it's a lot easier to pinpoint tight ends than it is the Russian roulette receiver today. If you want to, I think, clear ways that people are going to be on the field that are going to be different. Aiden O'Connell, if you want to embrace the Tua Caleb Williams stuff of yesterday, Chiefs receivers and Chiefs running backs. right there. There's a lot of unknowns at those positions. Ownership reflects that. Someone from the Chiefs, there will be a running back lined up in the backfield almost every time for the Chiefs. There will be receivers out there for the Chiefs. O'Connell will have the ball in his hands. So, again, it's not very comfortable, but talking through it, I think that's the three things that stand out that's going to dictate this slate. Or if there is a solo shipper, less than 10 dupes, I do think it'll be a Chiefs running back, O'Connell, maybe some weird Chiefs receiver getting there. Let's go get out the shoey again. Yep, if anyone did not see it or tuned in late, Hoop did do the shoey bet on Twitter. Definitely go check it out, Hoop24.
It's funny. My kids were loving it too. They were reading the comments, like they wanted updates on everything. So they went through the Discord comments. Some a little, not appropriate for them, but it's all right. Like we gotta introduce them and toughen them up at a young age. Yep. So they went through and read everything. They loved it. It provided some entertainment for the family. And then if you didn't hear the opening of the show, when I got to I knew I was going to do it. We were going to my parents' house. I knew I was going to do it in the backyard, and I was trying to explain to them. They're like, "Why do you come here with like an extra shoe?" And trying to explain to them like well, why would you do that? Why? I said, well, it's just a thing that people are kind of doing. I said I lost a bet months ago. I'm finally paying up, and again, they didn't understand the whole thing until they saw it. It's one of those things. Once you see it, I mean, it's for like sure. There's no denying what's going on. It's pretty clear. So it was fun day.
No one else wanted to go right after you and do another.
No one wanted in on the action. Maybe if I brought the dong bong, Mrs. Hoop would have got in on it, but not the shoe portion. She's a shoe freak.
Yeah, I did not peg Mrs. Hoop as one to do a shoey, but
no.
What's going on?
We can get her on the dong bong, not the shoey.
Yeah, that makes some sense for sure. Little cleaner there. Let's talk some kickers and defenses. Was it a clean shoe? It looked a little dirty. It looked like a real legit.
Yeah, I pulled it. I pulled it. It's a legit shoey. I mean, I didn't want to I'm not gonna lie. It crossed my mind to just like run it through the wash and then do it. Like, no, I said it's got to be a dirty shoe. So it was a shoe that. Let's put it this way: backup yard shoe. So I'm still working. I'm still working through the pair right now. The pair that I use to cut the grass. They're rough. They're going to be gone soon. This is next in line. So I've worn these shoes out. Not a clean shoe.
Yeah, I like it. It looks like that as well. Let's go kickers, defenses, and Hoop. This is one, not a rare, I guess, instant, but when we have big favorites and one team that's really good, one team that's bad. Again, 14.8 implied points you can see. Usually that leads to defense being way higher priced than usual. This is like Texans price even higher, I believe, than we saw a couple times ago. I forget who they were playing, some awful backup quarterback. Ownership, though, every time we see it, it feels like when people love seeing the higher price, they want to play it more because it gets there, they think. I feel like it has in the short sample that we have, but you got to start there. Again, it is cold, at home, bad Raiders team, backup quarterback. It all makes sense. But, man, 6,800 worthy, 600 more. The problem is, though, there just isn't really, like, cheap options in that range. You got to go all the way down to Abdul at 5'8" when you really go cheaper than Chiefs D. So kind of in a tier of its own. And then, talk kickers and Raiders defense, of course.
Yeah, it's going to be higher than the 30, too. I mean, everyone's kind of showing the 30 number, and it's always higher because people are just assuming 14-point favorites. They're priced up. I can't miss out. If they score a defensive touchdown, I'm in. And it's probably going to be 40%, the upper 30s, I'd say. I can't get to that. I'm going to play them, but I can't get to that number. Like, there's no way I can get to that number, and I'll be underweight on the defense. Probably no Raiders defense, but I'll definitely be underweight on that Chiefs number because I know it's going to be probably 38, 39, and I just can't do that. So underweight there. Maybe underweight or, probably fading Raiders, and then these kickers, Wright and Carlson. Obviously, Wright, much stronger option for sure. I mean, the Raiders are projected to score 14 points. I mean, I'll keep him in the player pool, but not really going to be forcing him in. I will have some Wright. So the big talking point though is the Chiefs defense, and it's not going to be 30%. And I get it. Like none of these, it's not like we can put the Chiefs at a projected ownership of like 38, 39, 40. That wouldn't make sense, but that is what it's going to end up being. Like it always is. And the last one I think was Houston, right? And they did end up getting there against Dallas. I want to say I'm not 100% on that one, but they did end up getting there. It's going to be very high 38, 39, I'll be underweight, but that is the big talking point between the defenses and the kickers.
Let me see what it is quick. It's gonna bug me. Yeah, it was Cowboys. You're right.
Yeah.
They got
a late
I don't
touchdown.
have. So what?
I said they got a late touchdown or something.
Yeah.
I believe. And paid it off.
Did.
Yep.
Because people were tilting in the first half, like I really did that or something. I don't have too much more to add. Like kickers in cold weather, but these guys can make field goals. Raiders defense feels awful in a vacuum, but one play, random stuff can happen. Yeah, I still don't love it too much. Gonna play some Chiefs D. I think the best way to go Chiefs D is if you do want to embrace one of Hunt or Pacheco. You get that mini pairing there. They pound the ball on the ground, take the arrow to the football. O'Connell drops back a ton, and then if they do go that route, they probably don't throw it as much to the Worthies, the Hopkins, the Kelce's of the world that way. Maybe go defense, running back, but it doesn't feel great on paper. But maybe that's how I approach some of that defense chalk. Nothing really more to add for the DraftKings slate. If you have anything else, Hoop, to add, feel free. Otherwise, taking it over to FanDuel. I mean, we think Mahomes is popular on DraftKings. FanDuel, they should have priced him up to like 18,000. 16K, I mean, still by far the highest projected on the slate, will be by far the highest owned on the slate. MVP, captain. I mean, like he's going to be like 60% owned at MVP on this slate. You can take it two approaches, I think. If you want to just go 100% Mahomes, I'll take all my min cash equity with a good or a way better chance at a chop at first and just play it kind of like a double up. You want to go that way? I don't think it's crazy. If you want to go, I'll play 10 teams today. Usually I play 40. I'm going to play no Mahomes because I know I'm probably donating my money. But if a Bowers, a Kelsey, a Dula, whatever it may be, does get on the optimal MVP, you could see a solo shipper on FanDuel or way less because it is really, really difficult to click any name but Pat Mahomes at MVP. Take it away, your approach, and then any like mispricings or anything.
Yeah, tough over there for sure. I mean, the pricing's super, super soft. And like the only guy is crazy. Like so Mahomes has a real price tag. The only other guys with a real price tag are Pacheco and Hunt, like they are it's 14.5 for Pacheco and then 14K for Hunt. So like
look at O'Connell's price too.
O'Connell is 5K. So that's the big thing. So that's why Mahomes is going to be 100% owned probably or something in that range between. It's going to be so easy to play him. Whoever the hell you want. It's like it's a broken slate with McConnell at 5K and then everything else super, super cheap. I guess like the one, if you're going like ultra leverage situation, would just be like heavy Hunt or Pacheco, and you're likely losing, but you're gonna have a chance to solo ship if they get a couple touchdowns. If one of them gets like a couple touchdowns, that would be ultimate leverage sort of situation on the slate. Those two guys. Outside of that, everything else is going to be pretty straightforward. Like Kelsey is going to be massively owned. 11.5 is a silly price tag for him. The Bowers and Jacoby Myers of the world are a little less appealing over on FanDuel just because, we like the volume, the trailing game script potential volume for them on FanDuel. You got to get in the box. You're going to have to find a touchdown for sure. Abdullah 9,500 in terms of like cheap plays. They did a good job with Noah Gray. I mean, I guess that's one thing. 8,500, where he's super, super cheap on DK. They got him in that range with like the kickers, Hopkins, Worthy, the McCormick dude's 5K as well, but he'll be much, much lower owned because we already have the Aiden O'Connell 5K play. So it's not a fun one over on FanDuel, but I guess it is like you can leave big, big amounts of salary on the table. With the O'Connell 5K thing, I would definitely, if you're building teams, do not make sure you take that down so you're not getting any 60K teams. Like breaking it down so you're leaving at least 500 or 1,000, I'd say, on every team just to make sure you're different because it's there's going to be a lot of duplication over there. So I don't know. It sucks, but it is what it is.
Yeah. And no Matthew Wright on FanDuel. I mean, they must have been asleep at the wheel earlier in the week whenever they did.
They don't have him in there? That's bad, man. No, jeez.
Yeah, what I'm seeing is like, I don't see him.
Terrible.
Chiefs D at 9K will definitely get ownership. So like if you're looking leverage, right in that range, Trey Tucker, Noah Gray, Daniel Carlson, Juju, Watson, Raiders D. All of it feels gross, but all of them are cheaper than Chiefs D. That is one way you can play O'Connell, leave a little money. I do like your shout on Kareem and Pacheco. Again, more than likely you're donating money. What's the biggest direct leverage off of Mahomes not getting their MVP? They rush it in 3 times and they don't throw it. And they get up by a lot and then they don't have to throw it. Direct leverage with one of them, you're overspending for them. But again, the bonus, Tambo's talked about it. If receivers or running backs get over 100 yards, that definitely helps propel them to the top on FanDuel, whereas in the past, like you could go 8 for 105 and a touchdown as a receiver and still not get there because the bonus, half point, PPR, etc. I don't really have too much more to add, Hoop. Think it was big boy prizes out there. DraftKings did a very solid job. We do have NBA back tonight as well. All of our content will be up. I feel like college football is always going on. Definitely always get in the Discord. Check out their thoughts, projections, content. The Stone always up. We have the Stone for all the sports over here. NHL, I assume, back as well. Shiptimizers, you can see, for all of our sports. And again, we do have the Black Friday deal. No better deal out there. Hey, the wife's shopping. I imagine everyone's shopping now till Cyber Monday. Pick yourself up a little deal. Join an awesome community. If you want all access for all of our sports, BF50 gets you 50% off your first month. Definitely do get in the Discord if you join. Otherwise, you just want football, NFL, college football. No better deal out there. Still a couple months left, $99 for the season. An extra $30 if you want to add Shiptimizer. Always fun talking some football with you, Hoop. Hope you have a great Friday and weekend. Final thoughts for the people on this slate or anything else?
Yeah, just to clarify this, because we both kind of said it, each individually are high leverage plays. I would not be playing them together on FanDuel at like, what is it, 20, that the combined price tag on those two would be 28.5. Like, I do not recommend doing that. Individually, high leverage plays, like we both said, though, you're likely donating. I mean, it's going to be hard for those guys to pay that off, and at best a split situation, but individually, very high leverage situation. Excited to have football here on Friday. Make sure to tune in Sunday morning. We'll be breaking down the full slate. All our content for the showdown slate is starting to go up. And for me personally, all my stuff will be up right after the show. I'm going to dive in here, build some teams. So make sure to get on over shipitnation.com and use those promos that we laid out here a couple times throughout the show. Good luck to everyone in your contest today.
Good luck, everybody. Enjoy the day off if you got it. If you're working and you tuned into the show, we absolutely appreciate you as well. Little football on a Friday, NBA tonight. It's rolling into the weekend. Enjoy it. Again, nice job talking football with you, Hoop. Nice job with the shoe. We paying off the bets. Yeah. And your Lions did get the job done. But all content will be rolling up. Head over to shipitnation.com for Hoopster. I'm Tidal. Good luck. Be safe. Peace.